Hi everyone, Diane Kincaid here. Have you ever wondered what to do with an old pair of dirty, dusty cowboy boots? Well, I did. I bronzed mine. I bronzed mine with Bronzee Finish. It's fun, it's easy. You can buy the kit, complete, and instructional videos if you go to bronzeefinish.com. Thanks for watching and have fun. Welcome to How to Bronze a Cowboy Boot. In my first video here for you, I want to just stress how clean your boot needs to be before you apply Artzee and Bronzee. So take a bottle of rubbing alcohol and clean your boot inside and out. That will ensure that all the grease, grime, dirt, and oil is off. The second step that you want to do to prep your boot is to put plaster of Paris down into the bottom. Some cowboy boots are a little wobbly, and this helps to hold it so it's nice and firm so it doesn't fall over. All right, so once that is established inside the boot, we can start with our Artzee. I've got Artzee poured out of my bottle. I've shaken it real well, poured all the contents out, and stirred it. I didn't have to add any water to it. It was a perfect solution for me. Now I'm going to start applying Artzee. A generous amount over the boot. If you do add a little too much Artzee and it drips, keep on wiping that off and blending that in. On your first couple of coats of Artzee, you might find that it separates on your boot. And if it does, it's because you have a little bit too much oil left on that boot. All right, I'm going to coat your boot inside and out, let it dry, and do a coat underneath. Happy painting. All right, I have my boot covered inside and out. I checked for my drips. I really didn't have too many places that it didn't adhere to because I really cleaned it well with alcohol twice. So you might want to go back over any spots that don't adhere to the Artzee and just go ahead and take rubbing alcohol after it dries, rubbing alcohol, rub it down just a little bit, and then paint Artzee right over it again. Other than that, I am just checking for all of my drips all the way around and maybe little places that I miss. I miss a place a little bit back here. Now this is the exciting part. This is part 3. You cleaned it. You did 4 layers of Artzee. Now we're gonna start with our first layer of Bronzee. And I've put Bronzee in a separate bowl. I've emptied the contents, at least partial contents of Bronzee, in a separate bowl just to make sure that I could get it stirred well in case any of the contents had settled to the bottom. So here we go. Let's start applying our Bronzee to our boot. It's a rich bronze. Bronzee comes in several different colors. It comes in black bronze, rich brown bronze, blush bronze, platinum, and copper. This is our #1 selling bronze. This is the rich bronze. Get a top coat real well. Careful not to get any drips, and if again you do, go back and take your brush and lightly just feather that off. We've got our first coat on our cowboy boot, and it's starting to dry pretty fast for us, but I just want to show you a trick for those that have a little hard time getting a little bit down into the boot. Take some of your Bronzee and just pour a little bit down in there. Okay, just pour a little bit. And then you'll take your brush, swoosh your brush around, and I'm going to pull this over here. Swoosh your brush around down in there, and then just paint upwards. Bring that bronzy all the way up the sides. And I'm doing this, I'm leaning this over while I'm painting it, so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing, more than what I can see. And you've got 3 more coats of bronzy to do. So make sure you let it dry in between each coat. So we now have plenty of coats on our cowboy boot, inside, underneath, all the way around. And now we're going to start with a technique called the dry brush technique. The dry brush technique is exactly what it means and states. It's a dry brush, meaning I'm going to dip my brush in and I'm going to wipe it off several times so it's very, very light on my brush. So if you've got the large cowboy boot kit, it comes with 2 other colors of bronzy. It comes with copper and it comes with your black gold. And I like to model the black gold, meaning patina the black gold, into the rich bronzy brown. So when you get your jar, it's going to have 1 ounce in it. It will not have 2 ounces. It'll have 1 ounce. You don't need hardly any at all to do a dry brush technique. So I'm just going to really get it off, set it aside, and then get most of it off my brush. And I'm just going to take my brush back and forth really light so you can see how I'm modeling it. Back and forth. Just giving it a little texture, and it's actually bringing up the personality of the boot. I'm going to take this, I'm going to wipe this off a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to come up here and slightly feather my boot. Now, one thing about having the patina and working with the patina type of effect, if you get too much on your boot, don't worry about it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you can always take some of it off. You can wipe it off. And then you can also take some bronzy back over it in your rich brown if you get too much of your black gold on it. All right, I'm going to turn you around this way. So I'm going to switch to the front and work on the boot a little closer to my cameraman. And I am really liking what this black bronze is doing to this boot. It's pulled out even more texture and definition of what the boot style and embossment is really like underneath. So as you can see, it's getting just a little darker. And my product will dry and blend a little bit more than what you see now because it's slightly wet. I'm really liking this. I'm going to get the bottom of the boot here. Really working that dry brush. If I need to dab a little bit more into my damp napkin here, paper towel, I can. You can see that it still had some product on it. Now we're going to be doing another layering of the copper bronze. This is giving it a really nice definition, as you can see in that other boot to my right. It's giving it a little bit more richness without making it look black. Let's turn this around. Coming away a little bit more. So don't forget to do the underside and the inside of the boot. Now I'm ready for my copper dry brush technique. I'm just going to stir the contents real well. And then dry brush my brush on my paper towel. And I am going to turn it sideways, come up from the bottom a little bit. So just in case I have too much on there, which I do just a little bit. So that looks a little bit too much. So what I'm gonna do is take my paper towel and just blot it off a little bit. I like that better. So that means I need to get a little bit more off my brush. And now I'm ready again. Nope, let's just say, and this is good for me to show you, it's just a little bit too much. And just a little bit more touching up here, one in the front of the boot. My brush is pretty dry, but it looks like it's full of the copper bronzy. A little bit more copper on that. I like that toe much better. And I come back. I'm going to get the heel just a little bit more right now. I had dried a little bit of that off and put a little bit more of the black gold. That's pretty good. A little bit more in the front. Along that seam. Looks good. I'm getting right down into that crease a little bit better. Right down in there. All right. I am definitely happy with this one. And I'll let this dry for a couple of hours. And then I'm going to seal it with my glazy water. Now we're on our 5th step, which is applying our waterproof sealer. Just to protect the boot a little bit more, it is optional. And I've actually poured a little bit of glazy in my bowl and added just a touch of water to it. It's very thick, it's very concentrated, and I have a tendency of overusing it because it's so thick. So I dilute it with water, and I also am very careful not to puddle it. So when you start applying glazy, you want to just start in real light strokes and just a light amount on your brush. Yes, get all the way in there. If you do, however, find a puddle, and a puddle will look as if it's white. It'll look real milky, and that's an indication that you've used a little bit too much. If you're putting your boot outside, you need to make sure that you have done all 4 coats of Artzee, all 4 coats of Bronzee, and I would suggest you do 3 coats of light coats of glazy. And then I'll be putting this on in the inside and underneath the leather sole of the shoe. And it also brings out a little bit more of your texture and your color of Bronzee. All right, once I'm finished with this, I'll see you at the final send-off. Okay, happy glazing. And step number 5 is complete. My boot looks like it's been bronzed. Gorgeous inside and out. So we have 4 coats of Artzee, 4 coats of Bronzee with a dry brush technique, and then finishing off just with a little bit more shine for those that want shine with glazing. So thank you for watching.